Yo, what's good, man? Another reaction. Mr. Nightmare will just drop. About to see what he talking about. True horror stories. Disturbing true horror stories. What you talking about? We're using this content on YouTube or any other platform such as TikTok is not allowed. So basically, he got it copyrighted now. I ain't never seen him put one of these before the video. People must be still trying to steal his content or something.
I began subletting a rental house cabin for a couple months in 2023 when my dad and I were bucking heads and I needed to move out. The actual renter of the apartment was having his own personal
That's
issues
that's what
causing him to leave
that's what your cabin look like, bro. Like out in the middle of the woods, like.
the apartment, and I'll just refer to him as my landlord to make it easier. The cabin was an entire unit rental, and it was paid month to month, which was ideal for my temporarily shitty situation. It was two floors technically, a small kitchen, decent sized living space, and one bedroom that you had to climb a little flight of stairs to get to. There was a quirky
How
hatchway
much
in the
they is
wall that
charging though
helped
for
open
that?
to get to the upstairs bedroom. I had already been there for a month. I paid for
Right.
the second month's rent already by this point, so I was fully situated there.
Okay. Okay.
The cabin sat at the end of a dirt road with a few other similarly sized cabin type houses.
Dirt road.
One was vacant as far as I knew, because I never saw cars parked out front or lights on. The other houses, well, I never met the neighbors, but I knew people lived in them. I work 12-hour shifts sometimes, and when I get home, I'm completely exhausted, and I
Right.
just
Right.
go straight to bed and watch TV until I fall asleep. This was one of those nights. I got home, made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a protein shake as my late night dinner, then went to bed. I always shut the door on the floor every night. I find myself to be uncomfortable at night, having the entrance to your bedroom opens. Something about it makes me feel exposed or vulnerable. Well, this door in the floor didn't have a lock. This cabin
Damn.
was made for one person or a couple. I was watching TV in bed when I heard it.
What
A
you
voice
heard?
from down below saying, "Who's up there?"
So you
Nigga,
think you know
what?
Wix, but do you really? First up, we've got Shake's video
Ah, come
practice.
on at the
You can
perfect
use
time. Talk about he.
I was
Talk about he in his room chilling. He heard a voice down below. Talk about who up there. Nah, who down there? What you mean who up here? It's my crib. It's my second month here. You talk about who up there?
to have a lock. This cabin was made for one person or a couple. I was watching TV in bed when I heard it. A voice from down below saying, "Who's up there?" I instantly felt my heart stop for a second as I shot up to an upright position. It sounded like it came from inside the house, but it also could have maybe come from outside.
Come on, man. What
I
you
grabbed
talking
the
about, bro?
TV
Came from
remote and
inside the
turned off
house.
the TV. I crawled over to look at the circular window above the bed. I didn't see anyone out there, but it was also very dark. I said, "Who's there?" And the deafening silence that followed afterwards led me to getting off the bed and putting my hand on the handle to the door. I lifted the door and looked down the staircase. I actually said my dad's name, thinking maybe he came over.
Come on,
There was
bro.
no response. I walked downstairs. I was extremely scared. Clicked on the first.
Bro, if it's your dad, why would you be talking about some who's up there? And then I'm pretty sure you know his voice. Like, that don't sound like his voice, bro. You know.
Light switch I passed. The living room. He came over. There was no response. I walked downstairs. I was extremely scared. Clicked on the first light switch I passed. The living room lit up. As I expected in the back of my head, there wasn't anyone down there.
Right.
I was still chalking this up to someone from outside. I turned on the front outside light and looked out the windows, and there wasn't anyone in front. By this point, I was really confused. I turned off the living room light and climbed the stairs back to my bedroom, shutting the door on the floor. I was pretty awake now, so I turned the TV back on. Not even 5 minutes later, I heard pounds on the bedroom door from below. It sounded angry or like they were supposed to scare me. If there was any doubt before, this confirmed it. Someone was in the house.
Yeah,
I left the TV on this time and just stayed completely motionless because I was genuinely too scared to move an inch. The scariest part was whoever was down there could easily open the door as there was no lock.
yeah, right,
I
right,
laid
right.
silent for about 20 minutes, and once I felt comfortable to move, I looked for my phone, and of course, of all times, it wasn't on my nightstand. find it. My neighbor.
Yeah, this nigga done left his phone downstairs. He talk about his room don't got no lock to it. So what he knocking on your bedroom door, he knocking like in a, feel me? Like what crib you done in there, bro? Like he says on a dirt road. It's probably in the middle of nowhere. Like something bound to happen in one of those cribs, bro.
Downstairs. So I opened the door of my bedroom and looked down the stairs. With the constantly changing light from the TV screen, I could see just a little bit down the stairs to the living room. So I went down the stairs quietly, and when at the bottom, instead of turning on any lights, I ran out the back door barefoot and ran to the nearest neighbor's house where I knew people lived, and I saw their lights were on. I knocked on the door a bunch of times, and then I noticed someone at the window next to the door, looking at me. I didn't know how long they had been watching me. I yelled through the glass, explaining what happened, that I'm his neighbor, and that I need a phone to call the police. He definitely heard me, but he just stared at me.
Hold up.
It was unsettling, and I started to back away from the door as I realized he wasn't even responding to me, just creepily watching me. I looked around the road and saw no other houses in the distance with their lights on. Momentarily, I had a thought. What if that guy had something to do with it?
That's what I was just about to say. Like what? I ain't no coincidence, bro. Like, so it's the next door neighbor break. I don't know. Cause like if you pulling up to his door, you talk about you knocking on, he just looking at you creepily. He was most definitely the one that was in there. I don't know what he doing, what he on, but that's him right there.
I went back to my rental through the back door, which was closed just like I left it. I went inside and locked it and turned on every light in the tiny house. I looked not only for an intruder, but my phone downstairs, and I finally found my phone in my car when I thought to look there. I was so tired earlier that I left it in the center console. I went back inside. The TV was still on up in the bedroom. I climbed the stairs. When I got to the top, I saw someone sitting on my bed,
Oh
staring at the TV.
hell no, bro. Who is this in your bro? Hold up.
It was a man. I screamed, and he turned his head slowly to look at me. Before I could see anything else, I ran back down the stairs and outside, and now with my phone called 911. I sat in my locked car watching the house on the line with 911, and I saw someone walking past the backyard of the house, disappearing into the woods. I told the operator this. When a police car arrived, the one officer checked the house and upstairs room after I told him that I saw someone, most likely the intruder, walk away into the woods. He asked if I had any other places to stay that
Yeah,
night,
exactly. Into the woods.
and so I swallowed my pride and went back to my dad's house for the night after packing some of my important stuff. I returned to the house the next day and stayed another night, then collected the rest of my stuff. Luckily, the landlord agreed to giving me some of my money back. He asked me what the man looked like, and after that, he didn't ask any more questions, which to me is pretty sus. Something was unusual in that situation, from that creepy neighbor ignoring me to the landlord's random urgent need to move out to someone full-on breaking into the house. Maybe it's all connected. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
overthinking it.
Nah, you ain't overthinking nothing. It sound like it's all connected. Like that's what I'm saying. Who you renting from, bro? Like you. Probably renting from the wrong person. Or got set up or something. Had to be. Leah T.
It was a Tuesday night around 11 p.m. in 2013, and I was walking down a dimly lit street at night on my way home from work. My car had been in the shop, so I'd been forced to walk 3 miles home every day. The walk was barely an hour, so I was home before midnight. I live in a
Hold up. How? What? Barely an hour. They tried to make that sound short. Nah. You talk about you. Man. Would have had to call the Uber. Take the bus or something. Like 50-minute walk every day from work. That's crazy.
town in southern Indiana, so after 10 there's rarely any cars on the road. The only vehicles you ever see are truckers heading to Indianapolis. I was about a mile into the walk when I turned on a dirt road. My house was off the beaten path, so I had to take all these dirt roads surrounded by forest to get there.
Hell no. I'll be mad paranoid walking through there. Like, look at that.
As I was turning, I heard the sound of a motor in the distance.
Oh yeah, get up, yeah, yup. You on a dirt road? What is dirt? Ain't nobody else around. Get up out of there. You know what they looking for.
Very slowly. I saw about a quarter mile down the stretch of road I just turned off of a van moving very slowly without its lights. At first, this didn't strike me as out of place due to the fact that the town I live in there is a pretty cheap car dealership that sells used cars and vans with broken parts.
Come on, bro. What you mean?
So I just assumed this guy was one of their clients.
Talk about he just
I
a
kept walking
nah.
down the side
Ain't no
road,
client,
the
bro.
van still going slowly down the main road. About 5 seconds later, I jumped when I heard the sound of the van roar, and it sped up really fast. Except now it had its lights on. I was startled, but not worried. This was until the van got closer to the turn for the side road.
Bro, how many signs you need, bro? You just waiting until it get close to you, bro. You just waiting until somebody hop out, like, bro. Talk about somebody client, bro. Ain't nobody client. He following you, bro.
Away from the turn, the van turned off its lights again and slowed down. Now I was officially creeped out. I didn't want to seem startled, so I just walked faster down the road. I kept turning back constantly to see if I was being followed. Then my suspicions became reality as I saw the van turn onto the dirt road. I was only about 500 feet from the van, so I started to walk a lot faster.
You talk about he's still
I didn't
walking.
want to look back, but I did just to be safe. What I saw frightened every bone in my
You about to
body.
get me tight.
I saw
What you
the
talking about? You don't, like, bro, if you don't get to moving, like, bro, this ain't no joke. Talk about you want to look star, you don't want to look, bro. You better look back. You better get up out of there. Like, you talk about you want to look back. You gonna get hit or something. You gonna do snatched up.
I stopped with both the passenger and driver's doors open. At this point, I ran for my life down the dirt road. I heard what I'm positive was a gunshot not far away.
Damn, oh, they trying
I
to.
really thought this was how I was going to die. I made a quick turn into one of the surrounding.
You should have been there. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Thought about learning.
Talk about he made a quick turn into the forest. You should have been to that first when you said he was on the main road, he was on the side road, like.
One of the surrounding forests and hid behind a big rock. I heard what sounded like a middle-aged man not far away say, "I think she went into the woods." And then, to my horror, what sounded like 3 young girls, with one of them responding, "Okay, sir, I'll see if we can find her." Now I wasn't fearing for my life. I was worrying I was going to be forced into whatever sick group this was. I was covering my mouth, trying not to make any sound, when I heard the man say, "Whoever finds her doesn't have to drink the blood tonight."
What?
A million thoughts ran through my head. Is this some sort of satanic cult? Are these girls kidnapped? Will I become one of them? I spent what felt like an eternity sitting behind a rock, being scared of any sound that I could hear. Then, to my relief, I heard cop sirens nearby. I stayed there just to be safe. When I felt the courage to look from behind the rock, I saw red and blue lights.
I low key miss. Let me go back like a minute. I don't miss that one part because
She went into the woods, and then I made a quick turn into one of the surrounding forests.
All right, yeah, here we go.
Big rock. I heard what sounded like a middle-aged man not far away say, "I think she went into the woods." And then, to my horror,
oh yeah, they on you.
sounded like 3 young girls, with one of them responding, "Okay, sir, I'll see if we can find her."
3 young girls. So it's about how many? Like 5, 6 people.
Worrying I was going to be forced into whatever sick group this was. I was covering my mouth, trying not to make any sound, when I heard the man say, "Whoever finds her doesn't have to drink the blood tonight."
Whoa, hold up, what, bro? You sound like some type of horror movie. Like what? What is they talking about? Oh yeah, they doing something else, bro. They ain't.
Thoughts ran through my head. Is this some sort of satanic cult?
That's what it seemed like.
Will I become one of them? I spent what felt like an eternity sitting behind a rock, being scared of any sound that I could hear. Then, to my relief, I heard cop sirens nearby. I stayed there just to be safe. When I felt the courage to look from behind the rock, I saw red and blue lights right outside the forest. I ran out screaming for help. The cops came to me and said, "Ma'am, do you know about this body?" I
What?
was confused and said, "What body?" Then I saw in front of the cop car the most gruesome thing I will ever see. It was what looked like a naked young woman, gutted, blood everywhere. There was no van in sight. I then explained everything to the cops. The car, the man, the girls who had to drink the blood. The cops said they'd look into it and were nice enough to drive me home.
Damn, that's wild. That's wild. So they what? So what? They ended up catching somebody, like killing somebody before they got to you. So you got lucky for real. Like I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy. Yeah, you got lucky.
That night, when I couldn't sleep, I looked out my window to see the van, the same one from before, driving slowly without its lights on down my street.
Hold up.
That night, when I couldn't
They see where you
sleep, I
live?
looked out my window to see the van, the same one from before, driving slowly without its lights on down my street. This time I was smart and wrote down the license plate. I called the cops immediately and told them what I saw and gave the license plate number. As expected, when the cops came, the van was long gone. But what they told me is what will horrify me to this day.
What?
The cops said we checked the license plate number. It's a plate registered in South Dakota. But the thing is, we checked with other precincts around the country. They've gotten reports tonight that there was also a suspicious van with that license plate. One in Vermont, one in Nevada, one in Alaska, and one in Texas. They said we'll call you if we get any more information. The cops left, and I never got a call. I don't really believe in the paranormal, so my best guess is that it was some sort of cult that used fake license plates to do their sick things all across the country. But I guess I'll never know. I moved out of Indiana. Now I make sure when I see something suspicious, I bolt.
Like, bro, you should have. Oh, you gave me mad, bro. Especially in that situation, like you was acting way too nonchalant, bro. You talking about you in a it's dark nighttime, bro. Not only that, you walking on a dirt path in the woods, like you feel me? Like not no like regular like a dirt path in the woods, bro. And you talk about this a car out of the only car around in the woods. Lights off, driving slow, like and your suspicion ain't go off then. It damn near took for them to hop out on you for you feel me? Like
My wife and I live in a normal suburb. We have normal jobs, normal lives, next to normal neighbors. We live the, I guess you'd say, standard American lifestyle that most of us are taught by our parents to achieve. Me sitting down to write this story is already saying something because I'm not a writer. The last time I typed something out this
was in
long
high
was the
school?
last paper I wrote in college.
Oh, college.
But something happened not that long ago that no one can explain, and it still scares us to this day. My wife
Wow.
Gianna and I had a normal day, and after work, we decided to go out to eat for a change. We got back around 9. We don't stay up very late on work nights, so by 9:30, we were brushing our teeth getting ready for bed. By 10 o'clock, we were in bed, and we usually shut the lights off at 11. We either read our books or watch our show. Tonight, we were watching our show. Then the phone rang. Gianna told me not to answer it. Anyone calling at this hour can't be good news. I agreed with her.
It's a
but
fact.
For that reason, I said I should pick it up in case it's an emergency. So I reached over for the phone next to the bed to pick it up, but it stopped ringing before I could actually lift the receiver. That old landline was trash. The second the call stopped, the caller ID would disappear, and there wasn't a way to check the call history. Oh well, wrong number. But a few
Wrong
minutes
number.
later, the phone rang again. So I grabbed the phone and looked at the screen.
What it said?
Unknown number.
Nope.
Gianna and I both thought that was unusual,
Nope.
especially past 10 o'clock. I feel that there's a generally accepted cutoff time for phone calls, and that's after 9 p.m. I didn't pick up the phone, but right after it stopped ringing, the phone rang again. Suddenly, it felt like it was an emergency, like God forbid something happened to a relative, so I picked up in a hurry. On the other end was the voice of my neighbor, Al. He asked me if I knew that man standing out in front of my house. I said, "What are you talking about?" He told me to go outside and hung up. I found it insanely bizarre the way he'd just hang up abruptly.
Nah, your neighbor trying to set you up or something. Like what? At first when you just said that, I'm like, oh damn. He letting them know somebody else. He sees somebody outside his crib, but he talk about so go outside then hung up. You trying to set me up, huh? That's what it is. Promise you, it's the neighbor.
Gianna's face when I told her what Al just said was a look of fear. She said, "Don't go out there." I said, "I'm just going to look out the window."
Yeah, look out.
Went downstairs and moved the curtain a bit to look out to the front lawn. There was definitely no one standing outside. I opened the front door and then the storm door and stepped out to the front stoop. I looked around and looked into the bushes right in front of the house.
Somebody hiding, bro.
Nobody. So I got a little annoyed at the idea that Al would prank call us this late on a work night. It also just felt a little out of character for him to do that.
Yeah, bro, don't look
I
at.
went back to bed and told Gianna that no one was out there and Al was probably messing with us. She was just as confused by that as I was. It just felt bizarre. She told me to call him, so I did. But it rang and went straight to voicemail.
Yeah, that's
So
weird,
I
bro. I
left
don't
a
know.
voicemail saying, "Hey Al, what was that call about? Give me a call back."
Ugh.
Then the phone rang. It said unknown caller again. I picked up, and it was Al again, saying before I could even say anything, "Go outside. There's someone standing outside your house."
Come on, bro. What you
He
want?
said it in a calm, slow voice. Then he hung up. I got up and said out loud, "All right, what the hell is going on?" I told Gianna to wait here. I went downstairs and back to the window. I looked through the curtain, and this time I saw someone standing right at the end of our walkway where it met the sidewalk. He had a hood over his head,
That's Al.
covering his face to just blackness. I was honestly shaken. I opened my door and said outside, "Can I help you?" The man just stood in place. I threatened him with calling the police. Then the house phone rang again. I closed the front door and went to the kitchen phone. And this time noticed the caller ID showed my neighbor Al's number.
That's
I
weird.
picked up, and Al said in a much more normal voice, "Hey, I just got your voicemail. What was that about? I didn't call you." I was
Wait. Hold on. So somebody, I'm confused, bro. What? How? So somebody calling from Al number that's not Al? What?
confused. I swore to him. He just called me twice, telling me about a man outside my house. He sounded even more confused than me. Then, moments later, he said he doesn't see anyone outside my house. I went back out to look out the window. That man who was standing outside my house was gone. I demanded Al tell me right now if this was a joke, and if I found out it was and he wouldn't tell me, we'd have a problem. Al claimed he was telling the truth. He's not some immature prankster kind of guy. He's a
Yeah.
very low-key, respectful person. I had to put him on speaker so Gianna could vouch for me that I wasn't going crazy, and that we did in fact get 2 calls from someone who sounded just like him.
What?
He did the same and put his wife on the phone as well to vouch for him. In the end, what could he really say, though, except for it sounds like someone was pranking us.
Right.
Eventually, we got off the phone, but I was no less horrified than I was before. I had to go back downstairs one more time to hang up the downstairs phone, so I looked outside one more time.
Hold up, man.